The character of Maurya in the play Riders to the Sea. Maurya is the protagonist of the play. Her presence is felt much before she appears on the stage. Her two daughters, Kathleen and Nora, are worried about her. They try to hide the clothes of Michael. They fear that she would collapse if she comes to know of his death. The young priest also expresses his fears. Kathleen recalls his words, I quote, "Let no one say a word about him, for she'll be getting her death, crying with and lamenting." Unquote. We are told that she keeps on praying off through the night for the well being of her sons. When Kathleen says that Bartley intends to go to Connemara, she hopes that he would stay back. She has a premonition that he too will be lost to the sea. She knows that she cannot stop him, yet she hopes that the young priest would stop him. Nora contradicts her, saying that the priest will not stop him. She struggles desperately to keep him from the sea. The maternal feeling of Maurya begins to manifest itself here. Her expectation regarding the arrival of Michael's body rinses our hearts. She says, I quote, "If Michael is washed up tomorrow morning, or the next morning, or any morning in the week, for it's a deep grave, we will make him by the grace of God." Unquote. She wants the rope to be hanging by the board, but Bartley insists on using the rope to make the halter. He has decided to go to the Galloway fair. Maurya resists him, saying that the rope is needed for the burial of Michael. Her words suggest that Bartley's presence is needed in the cottage to make the coffin for Michael. But Bartley is determined to go to the fair. Maurya, an experienced old woman, fears the tragic possibilities of life. Bartley is keen on going to sell the horses in order to get some money. Here, the verbal conflict brings out two opposite points of view of life. Bartley ignores her words and walks on to the inevitable doom. Her premonition reaches its climax. I quote, "He is gone now. God spare us, and we will not see him again. He is gone now. And when the black night is falling, I will have no son left me in the world." When she goes out to give a piece of bread and blessings to Bartley, she encounters a terrible hallucination. It is the most terrible thing that she has seen in her life. She recalls the vision, I quote, "I went down to the spring well and I stood there saying a prayer to myself. Then Bartley came along, and he riding on the red mare with a grey pony behind him. And there was Michael upon it, with the clothes on him and new shoes on his feet." Unquote. The images of Bartley and Michael merge in her mind. The vision of her dead son leads to the premonition of Bartley's death. She alludes to the death of her husband, husband's father, and the six sons. When Bartley's body is brought to the cottage, she is calm of mind, all passions spent. She does not cry over her son's death. Life and its schemes have taught her to accept the terrible fact of death. She is matured enough to accept it with humility and courage. She is not cowed down. She has learnt through sufferings. At the end of the play, the old Maurya heroically meets the challenge of fate. She also faces the tragedy and death. She says, I quote, "No man at all can be living forever, and we must be satisfied." Unquote. She has no self pity. She realizes that the power of nature far outweighs the strength and courage of man.